Hey, right, today I've got a sort of an ad hoc informal unboxing of the Honda genuine style kit for the Honda GB350s. Now, it's not a deep dive into this kit, it's just an overview. Obviously, all the major details will be covered in the relevant fitting videos as this project progresses in the early part of this year. It's just a traditional YouTube unboxing video. Now, before I get into that, I just want to issue a warning about a product that I bought for Paula over the Christmas period, which has the potential to cause substantial damage to your property. I'm not very happy with the way things have gone. I've got 141,000 subscribers. It stands to reason that some of those subscribers may well fall foul of this particular product because it's from a well-known company, and this company seems to spend every ounce of energy that it's got trying to wriggle its way out of any responsibility. And after doing a little bit of research, I think the reason for that is that there's quite a widespread issue with some of their candle products. Now, as hard as I tried, it was very difficult to pick up the problem, on camera, filming this candle. But I will show you the substantial damage that it's caused in some photographs in a minute or two. But hopefully you will see, if you continue to watching, that it keeps belching out little puffs of smoke, and that progressively gets worse as the candle heats up. Now, this is the large mercury candle from the White Company of London, in the fragrance of Fair. It's a sort of a pine-scented candle. Paula quite likes the White Company. I'm not so keen on them. I think the prices are exorbitant and the quality of the goods are definitely, in my mind, going down in quality over the last year, 18 months. But she likes their candles, so for Christmas I bought her a miniature version of this candle. I think it was about £12 as a Christmas present. She loved it. Now, as you know, Paula's been a bit down in the dumps lately. She had her diagnosis at the end of summer. She's been through an operation. She's been getting over that. She's not been feeling very well, and she's also got some radiotherapy coming up at the end of this month. In the new year, she was a bit down in the dumps, so I took her out for the day to Beverley. They had the January sales on. Now, are you ready for this? This candle at normal retail price is £70. Yes, £70 for a candle. But, to sort of try and cheer Paula up, it was down to £50 in the January sales. Not all the candles were reduced, but this one was. In an attempt to cheer her up, I bought it for her while I was in there. Didn't think anything of it. The candle that I bought her for Christmas was okay. I don't think it was worth the money, but it was okay. But this candle has some serious quality issues. I bought similar sized candles from Asda for £4 that I sincerely think are far superior in quality to this product. At a retail price of £70, you expect exceptional quality. I think you've got a right to expect that. But right from the get-go, I realised this candle was anything but. For a start, the wicks were off-centre. Now, when I lit this for the first time, as you know, you should keep wicks trimmed to about 1/4 of an inch. I trimmed the wicks, but I noticed after about 2 hours of burning that the wicks were about somewhere between 12 and 15 millimetres long. Now, technically, a wick should be selected of the correct gauge so that it reduces inside at about the same rate as the wax is consumed. But obviously, whoever had manufactured this candle, to my mind, it seems that they've not put the right wicks in the candle. So the wicks are not reducing fast enough, they're getting longer and longer, and this can cause smoke formation. So I actually found I had to trim the wicks on this candle every time I lit it. Normally you only have to do that every 2, 3 or 4 burns, but you had to do it religiously every time you lit this candle, which is odd. I've never had to do that with any candle that Paula's had. It's very unusual, and to me, straight away, it was a sign that this candle wasn't really worth the money that we'd paid for it. Now, the other thing is, on the care advice on the candle, it warns you not to burn it for any more than 4 hours, which is, again, quite unusual. I know generally speaking, with container candles like this, the advice is not to burn them for much more than 4 hours, but it's not a safety thing. It's all about the longevity of the candle. It's candle care, not a safety advice. And of course, the problem with container candles like this is you don't get a steady flame because you've got convection currents running in and out of the container as the candle's burning. So you always got a dancing flame. You won't get a steady, rock steady flame. And if you notice, these flames are flickering in the same direction no matter which orientation this candle is in. They always pull to one side because of that convection current that's going on within the container itself. It's quite a badly designed and badly formulated candle, in my opinion. Now, Paula's been burning candles on a particular position in our kitchen on the windowsill for about 14 years. We've never had any problems with any of them. There's no drafts from the window, so, it's a good safe spot to burn a candle, and it looks nice. And ranging from dirt cheap candles from IKEA to candles from Asda, and even, the slightly more expensive Yankee candles, but we only buy them when they're on offer for about £10. We have had zero issues burning candles at that point. There's no draft from the window. As you can clearly see here from this cheap little IKEA candle, which by the way is not protected by a glass vessel, as this expensive White Company one is. Now, we'd used this candle about 6 times, adhering to the instructions on the candle, and the final time we lit it, it had been going perhaps a little bit over 2 hours. Paula had been working in the kitchen, so she was with it more or less all the time. She'll have been going in and out of the room, but she was there most of the time. And she suddenly came through and asked me to come and look at what had happened. She turned the main kitchen light on to do something, and she saw that this candle was profusely belching out smoke. She'd blown it out by the time I got through there. And bearing in mind, we've just spent over £20,000 refurbishing this kitchen, I came through to see this. Now, despite the fact that she'd been in the kitchen, she had the accent lighting on in the cabinets, and she didn't see what was happening until she put the main lights on. This thing had belched smoke out, which had damaged the whole of one end of the kitchen. Thick, black, greasy soot everywhere. Honestly, it looked like we'd had a chip pan fire. Now, just to clarify what's happened, she managed to clean it off the window frames and the new cupboard units, but it wouldn't come off the paint on the walls and the ceiling. So she spent a total of 3 days, 1 day cleaning and 2 days repainting the ceiling and the wall to make everything good again. Because at first she could not get the paint to cover the damage on the walls. Now, the following morning, Paula rang the White Company of London's customer care line, expecting that they would tell her to just take it back for a refund or a replacement. Not that we would want a replacement. Now, what struck me when she came off the phone is that initially they were okay with her, but as soon as she mentioned that it was a problem with the candle, their attitude changed immediately. They wouldn't let her take it back to the shop that we'd bought it from in Beverley. They said that they would deal with it, but they couldn't deal with it over the phone. It would all have to be done with email. It all seemed a little bit fishy. Now, they asked us to send them some photographs and quickly came back, and just from these photographs, including this one that you're looking at the moment, they assumed that there was a draft from the window, which I've just proved to you there isn't. They also accused us of not keeping an eye on the candle, so it was all our fault. It seems to me that the way they see it is that you should light this candle and then just stand and watch it for 4 hours, not move, and then blow it out at 4 hours. You're not allowed to turn your gaze away from it at any one point. They also accused us of failing to trim the wick between burns, bearing in mind this photograph is after the incident. The state of these wicks is representative of about 2 hours burning. That to me is a sign of a company that knows they've got some issues with their candles, and as it stands, they're refusing to take any responsibility for it or even refund us for the candle. It seems to me that they have a specific policy whenever they get a complaint about a candle to just double down on it's the customer's fault. They wouldn't entertain any assurances from us that we had followed the instructions. They completely ignored any assurances that we made to them, and they wouldn't allow any opportunity for us to prove them wrong. They just closed the case. And again, when I've done the research, this seems to be a common complaint of this company. So if I save one person from having a room wrecked because of one of these candles, as far as I'm concerned, I've done my job. I know you don't come here to see this kind of content, but these candles have a probability of causing extensive damage to people's property. I'm not saying that they're dangerous, but they will cause damage to decor in any room. Looking at the label, it seems that they get these candles made quite cheaply in India, and quality control, shall we say, is not a priority. I will say I don't think it's typical of all their candles, because Paula's had several of their candles in the past and they've always been fan, but you've got absolutely no way of knowing which of the candles that you buy from this company meet quality controls and which ones have slipped through the net. So I would be very careful with candles from the White Company. Right, let's get on with the main content, the unboxing of the style kit for the Honda GB350s. Hey up, right, the unboxing of the style kit for the Honda GB350s. I've had this since, I think it was when I picked the bike up, or shortly before I picked the bike up. It was actually donated by Honda for me to make some videos on, so you should be aware that I didn't pay for these items. Now, there's 3 boxes altogether. There was actually, when it arrived, there were 3 boxes and a load of small boxes and packages, so one of them has been opened to try and condense all the loose stuff. I've got assistance from Freya today, as usual. I've also got a Christmas present, so I'm going to get to try that out. My Niven Gentleman's Blade. So what the problem I've got is my dining room is very small. It's the most suitable room for filming because of the light. So I can't get me and the unboxing in at the same time. So I'm going to have to go and change the camera angle now so that you can see what we're doing. I'll start off with the large open box. Right, so I've had this kit for a while, and obviously I've had the GB350s for a while. The main reason for me waiting with this is that Honda UK went out of stock with the Honda GB350s in July, I think it was, and interest diminished a little bit because nobody could get the bike. So I thought it would be best to wait until the beginning of this year, when we're going to start getting the GB350 stock in. Then it's going to be sort of more relevant for people that are looking to buy the bike or are waiting for the bike to arrive. But it'll still be relevant for the people that already have the bike. So we'll get started. Straight away I can see there's been some stuff put in here that isn't part of the kit. We've got a belly pan from Power Bronze that they sent to me. They asked me if I would like to fit it. That's going to be a later addition to the bike. What I'll do is I'll shove the box over to one side, so I've got room to work on the table. Just put that to one side. I've also got a headlamp protector from Power Bronze. I mean, that is nice kit. That'll probably work with one of the accessories that I've actually got in this Honda style pack. So I will be fitting that at a later date again, maybe with that particular accessory, which I'm presumably going to find in one of these boxes somewhere. Right. Actually, this box is unnervingly large for what was actually in it, because I know that was separate. Right, so we'll start off with these. These were separate as well. As I say, that's why the box has previously been opened. because I just didn't want stuff to go adrift. And what we have here is the, I can't remember how to close this. What we have here is the knee pads for the petrol tank, which are actually quite a typical, what's that? Quite a typical 1960s design, especially where Honda is concerned. You know, we're used to the more oval shaped ones, but these were quite popular back in the 1960s. It's a bit odd because when you consider the bike styled on something from the 70s through to the 80s, we've got the usual white release powder all over it. That'll come off with a bit of dressing. Sticky pads on it. It looks fairly simple and straightforward to fit, to be honest. Yeah, so we've got the knee pads. Now, what I've been told is there is no instructions for any of these components for this kit, but with each one, you should get a slip of paper with a scan code on it, which will allow you to download the instructions for each accessory onto your phone or your tablet or whatever, which will give you something to work from. I mean, these are primarily designed to be fitted by Honda technicians, so they don't bother putting paper instructions in with them. There's just a slip of paper. What's the matter, Freya? There's just a slip of paper in there that allows you to go onto Honda's website and you know, locate the fitting instructions. So that's the knee pads out of the way. Next up we have a box. Yeah, looking at these, there's nothing on them to suggest what's inside. There's just a Honda code and part number, so it's like Christmas Day, you don't know what's in any of these. What have we got here? Another slip for downloading the instructions. Now on the style pack it has a light bar, which it looks a little bit like a crash bar, but it's not a crash bar. It's actually a light bar designed for using these LED spotlights. I mean, I remember back in the 70s and 80s when you know, when I first started riding, that you know, one of the modifications we all used to make to our bikes was to put crash bars on and fit some spotlights for better vision and visibility, except we used to get big KC daylights or CB lights or something like that. These are a projector type light, all plastic construction, nothing wrong with that, it's good quality by the looks of it. It's quite open at the back, I don't know how that sort of works with the bar, but we'll find out when we're fitting it. All plastic construction, but it actually looks and feels like decent quality kit. It's what you would expect from any mainstream manufacturer these days. It's got a magnifying lens in the centre, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of performance we get out of the pack of two, obviously. I've got a package here which I think is the wiring kit and possibly the engine bar, I'm not sure. So we'll unpack that next, because Freya's in the box at the moment, so she's likely to be in there for a while. Put that to one side. Right, I think this is the wiring harness. I have to say this full niven, that's just made me a liar now. Full niven knife is very sharp. Nice piece of kit, that. Yeah, that looks like one of the back connectors that actually goes onto the projectors themselves. It's quite heavy, so there's obviously some electronics in there. But it looks like it's designed to fit onto the back of the projectors to close the back up. I said it looked a bit open and messy at the back, but this obviously closes that in and makes the connection from the bike I'm presuming there'll be 2 of those. Yeah, I can't make head or tail of what these are. I would need the instructions to actually work out what it's all about. We've got some cable ties in this bag with some rubber grommets and some other rubber seals or attachments. I'm not going to open these because there's just too much stuff to lose. Again, some connectors. These look like they're designed to actually connect up to the electrical system on the bike. And then, I'm not sure, probably I'm undecided. It's obviously a wiring harness of some sort for connecting the lights up to the bike. As I say, I'm not going to go into that great detail over these sort of things because there's going to be an individual video on each of these accessories. We'll do it in bits. Another slip with the download instructions. And what else have we got? Yeah, been a bit of a nuisance for you. I don't know, this actually looks like the that's actually the back of the projector lights. I'll just quickly get them out and show you. So again, I'm presuming there's 2 of these. That other attachment must fasten onto the light and then that goes over to close it up. But it looks like this is designed. I've got some lugs. It's designed to clip onto here somehow. It probably needs that other component in between the 2 to actually fasten it on. Yeah, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle at the moment. I'm sure all will become clear when we actually get onto the fitting. But that's definitely some sort of back cover for the projector lights. So I'm presuming there'll be 2 of these. Keep everything in the bags. One thing about Freya is she does have a habit of stealing stuff and disappearing with it. Yeah, I can see. Oh, hang on. So what's that then? Right, this looks like a cover that goes over the front. So those projectors just must be the internal unit, and then it looks like we have an entire casing that goes over it when you fit it. So again, I'm presuming there's going to be 2 of these. Again, it's ABS plastic. It's quite sturdy, really well made. One of the things that I've heard from people is that the quality of the accessories isn't good, but I've not seen anything yet that gives me any cause for concern. It all seems like, very decent modern stuff, as you would expect them to be under modern construction methods. I'm not seeing anything that's right. That's another back piece. That's another front cowling. Then we've got some brackets here. I'm not sure what they're for, whether they're to actually fasten the lights onto the light bar, I'm presuming. So yeah, we'll see what they're all about when it comes to the fitting. And then finally, got a little collection of fasteners, spacers, bits and pieces, little brackets like top hat spacers, that kind of thing. So yeah, that looks like the entire light wiring kit. Presumably in one of these boxes we're going to find the light bar. I hope we are. The problem is, you know, when it was absolutely chaos when the kitchen arrived and it was being fitted for a week. And, you know, everything just got shoved in the spare room, and this lot was buried at the bottom of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if some items have maybe been dislodged and are yet to be discovered. If that's the case, obviously I will find those and just tack the video onto the end of this video. So yeah, so that's the lighting kit. So we've got the tank pads so far, the actual lighting and lighting connection kit for the auxiliary lights. What's this? I think this was all that was actually. Oh, that's for something else completely. Yeah, it's the problem. Generally speaking, whenever I get review items in, I don't open the boxes because somebody that lives in this house has a habit of condensing boxes and finding the biggest box and shoving everything in it, and then everything gets mixed up and I don't know what's what. But I think this originally is all that was in this original large box. Right, so we've got some sort of bracket there that attaches to the seat. Feels like ABS plastic. I won't unwrap it. I know what that is. Again, another leaflet that gives you the download instructions for the instructions. And then in here, what I think we must have is the seat cowl. So let's have a look. Again, this is an injection molded ABS plastic. It's pre-painted in the sort of graphite grey that is common all around the Honda. Decent bit of kit, very similar in quality to what I've fitted to other bikes in recent years. So, although it is better finished here. I remember on the Royal Enfield ones, this was all a bit rough where it had been cut. I mean, you can feel that this has been cut off, but it is better finished. It was a bit rough on the Royal Enfield version. Seat cowl isn't something I think I would be leaving on the bike permanently, but the whole sort of idea of the scope of this series is to show people that do want them how to fit them and what to expect. I mean, you can buy all these accessories separately. This is the style pack. I think you make a little bit of a saving by buying it as the style pack. But if you just want individual components, then you know you can buy them individually. You don't have to buy the entire style pack. So pop that back into the box. I mean, that's obviously why everything's more or less packed separately. So I've got the bracket in there. I'm just so frightened I'm going to lose bits. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to put all the bits that I've just shown you when there's room in the box for you. Come on, sweetie. So nothing goes adrift. I'm going to say I am impressed with the quality of this knife. It was a Christmas present from Paula. The Niven gentleman's pocket knife. Really well made piece of kit. Some special wizardry with the actual blade itself, the way it's constructed, which helps it keep an edge. Another way, I'm going to cut your nose off. Right, so what have we got in here? Right, let me just close this knife up because I don't trust Freya around it. Again, I've got another. I mean, it doesn't tell you what it's for. Another leaflet explaining where to download the instructions. got a set of fasteners here, some short bolts, one long bolt. I think this is the light bar. So yeah, we know we've got that. It's important to remember these are not intended to be crash bars. They're intended purely to support the lights. I mean, they do sell crash bars separately. I'll put this one sec, I just realised you probably can't see that. They do sell a separate crash bar, but it can't be fitted in conjunction with this from what I can gather. So this is purely, you know, to support the auxiliary lights. I'm guessing there'll be two of these. Put that on because I don't want to scratch the table. And indeed there is, yes, there's the opposite half. So yeah, these are purely to support the auxiliary lighting. These are obviously the fasteners required for attaching it to the bike. Now from what I've read, and it might be wrong, this is probably going to be one of the first accessories that I fit, because if you fit other accessories after this, you have to partially remove this system. So this will probably, sorry, if you fit other accessories before it, you may have to remove them to fit this system. So this will probably be one of the first installations on the bike. Looks like mild steel that's been powder coated. The powder coating is excellent. You get used to that slightly rough finish that you get. I mean, I'm not knocking Royal Enfield. Their accessories are really keenly priced. I think these probably work out a little bit dearer, but not by much. This sort of reminds me of Motorn Customs quality. The powder coating is excellent. There's no rough spots on it. Really well made piece of kit. Yeah, happy with them. So that's the light bars for attachment of the accessory auxiliary lighting kit. Now I've got one box left, and I'm getting a little bit concerned actually, because I may or may not be wrong, but I can't imagine one of the accessories that I think belongs to this kit, I can't imagine it being in that box with the accessory that's in it, but we shall see. Because, as I say, they should all be packaged separately. I mean, if it's not there, and perhaps they left it off the order and didn't include it, I'm not too bothered, because it's not something I'm actually going to be able to. I would fit it to make a video to show you it, but I wouldn't actually be able to have it on the bike because of the mirrors I have fitted. So, right, I'm going to have to do some climbing now to get round everything. Now I think I know what's in here. I'm hoping that the hand guards are going to be in here as well, or maybe I'm mistaken and the handlebar guards don't come with the style pack. I'm going to have to look it up. It's been that long since I did all the research on it and spoke with Honda. You know, my memory on everything is a little bit dim. Oh, do you have to? Everything I do. Come on, out the way. You can go in the box when I've opened it. Come on. Doesn't look like there's any hand guards in here. I'm going to have to check up on that. As I say, it might be that they're languishing under the spare bed or something upstairs, and they've been missed when everything was brought down. So, first of all, we have a pack of fasteners and spacers. I'm really excited about this one because, you know, if there's one accessory in this entire bunch that really reminds me of the early 1980s, it's this. It's the Bikini fairing. I mean, in the late 1970s, you really only got fairings for race type bikes or big tourers. They were expensive items to fit for a bike. You rarely got them installed on the bike when you bought them until the early 80s. Generally speaking, the third party versions of fairings were quite crudely made. They were made from glass fibre because injection moulded plastic wasn't really a viable thing at that time. And then in the early 80s, manufacturers started including fairings on the bike, and we're quite used to that now, but that was when it started. And you would often have an option in a Ranger bike. You would have a naked version with a Bikini fairing fitted on it, a half-faired version, and then a fully faired version. And it was quite a novelty in the early 80s buying a bike, even a modestly priced bike, that came with a basic fairing on it. So to me, it's just the quintessential 1980s motorcycle accessory, and that's the main reason that I went for the style pack when they offered me, to do this sort of project, because I just think, Bikini fairings are so nostalgic for me personally, maybe not to everybody. Right, so what we've got here is a rather complicated looking bracket system that obviously attaches to the bike, and then the fairing attaches to this. Really substantial. Again, the powder coating is excellent. I mean, it's what you expect from the Japanese. I remember when I was in the motor trade talking to some top knobs from Ford, who at the time were having meetings with Nissan, and they were talking about quality control, and they were absolutely overawed by the Japanese attitude towards quality. They had zero tolerance to bad finishes and faults on parts, and they were quite worried about it at the time. I think they was looking at making the Ford Maverick, which was a Nissan rebadged, and they were quite nervous about whether they were going to be able to meet the Japanese expectations. I don't know how it went, but yeah. So that's the main bracket that obviously the fairing attaches to that. So I mean, feeling free, been a pain in the ass. I mean, feeling this is going to be a really sturdy piece of kit when it's fitted. Now we've got another bracket here. There is only one of these, so I'm not really sure how that ties in with the rest of it. Again, the powder coating is excellent. There's no marring on the metal. Really well made. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this good, if I'm honest, because one or two whispers that I'd heard from people was that they'd found the accessories for the Honda to be a bit disappointing, in that they weren't quite the quality they expected. I mean, maybe Honda's quality is usually even better than this. I don't know, but I certainly haven't seen anything here so far that I would put any question marks over quality. Everything is excellent. You are nosy. Right, we've got some, not fasteners, two, three, four top hat spacers, and some what look like plastic washers, a couple of rubber washers or grommets. Put that in there along with that bracket. There is only one of these. I'm not really sure how that ties in with everything, but I'm sure it's right because that box was sealed. It's not been interfered with. This, I think, is the actual screen itself, so I'll leave that for the minute. And this is my favourite bit of the whole kit, really, as sad as I am. Don't need the knife. Nothing screams sort of 1981, not quite like a component like this. Now again, this will be ABS plastic. I mean, I remember, you know, accessory fairings in the late 70s, early 80s. There were chunky pieces of kit that were quite strong, but they were made from glass fibre, and they used to be really rough. Nice gel coating on the front, but you know, the edges were always a bit questionable, and of course you had that mess of glass reinforcement around the back. Right, so this is the main part of the fairing. Quite flexible. Again, excellent quality ABS moulding. Been painted with the gunmetal grey that, you know, as I've already said, is common on the Honda. Quite a classic look to it. You know, it's not your modern sort of alien style. It is very 1970s, 1980s in the way it's been designed. Don't forget, you know, it's got that incredibly robust, strong frame that this fastens onto, so you don't need to worry about the flex. I mean, actually, you know, I've had fairings fitted on bikes that show flex like that when they're actually fitted, so yeah, I'm not concerned about that. And I think this is the screen. I am wondering about those handguards now, whether I'm going to have to check. Right, so this is the screen itself. Covered in a protective film, as you would expect. And I think it goes on to it's tinted, slightly blue. Again, you know, an incredibly nice piece of injection moulding that obviously fits into the fairing like that. I would imagine that's what those top hat spacers are for fastening these on so that you don't crack the plastics. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this bit. You can't beat a little bikini fairing. So yeah, now what I'm going to do, I don't know when I'll actually be starting the project because, as I say, we're a little bit dependent on the weather at the moment. I mean, it warmed up a little bit towards the end of the weekend, and then the temperatures plummeted again today, and we've got the threat of rain, which is why I decided to film this indoors rather than outdoors. So we just need the weather to be a little bit more reliable before we get going on that, unless I maybe just do some, you know, one of the simpler accessories first, then come back to the more involved fittings, because I don't want to, you know, get halfway through a job and then get rained off or snowed out, which is even worse. So yeah, I mean, I do have a concern as to whether, I'm going to have to look it up as to whether the, I thought the handguards were included with this pack. So unless they have been separated and they're laying somewhere upstairs, because even though the kitchen's been fitted now, there's a lot of stuff that was, you know, crockery, etc., that was taken out. I don't know, this goes back in now. That was taken out that is still up there, you know, we're still sort of sorting through the mess. So it might be that if the handguards are included with this pack, they're still up there somewhere, or it might be that due to some small error, Honda forgot to put it in the kit. It's a possibility, but we shall see. Right, I've just checked. The hand protectors are not included in the style pack. That's my memory playing tricks on me, so it's not missing. So that's the entire style pack for the Honda GB350, or unboxing of. You're going to see more of them when it actually comes to fitting them, obviously. Now, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and in doing so, helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. I'd also appreciate it if you would leave a like and press the hype button if it's available to you. Now, If you're not a subscriber, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. It does help me out. There are also other ways that you can assist by, making a PayPal donation or joining up to my Patreon page. Not essential, but it is appreciated. Or, of course, there's the super thanks button down below. Actually, that's the wrong side, isn't it? Whichever side it's at. I am, of course, going to see you next week. So until then, if you're riding, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon. What are you doing? I've just been having to put up with your sister for the last hour.